Welcome to the Expansive Astrology Podcast, where we look at using astrology beyond the tropes and horoscopes to tune into the natural forces around us and within us, honoring our true nature to craft our future. I'm your host, Melissa, the Self-Care Witch, and I'm here to help you meet your magic. Without further ado, let's begin this week's episode with a tarot reading for the collective. Hi, welcome back to the Expansive Astrology Podcast. I'm so excited to be coming to you today with a chat on Aquarius energy. I am an Aquarius myself, so I do love this. I do love this energy. This is just in time for the Aquarius new moon, which is happening on the 9th of February. So you can really use what we're talking about today to inform your intentions when you're setting new moon intentions for the new lunar cycle. Aquarius is here to serve the collective. Aquarius, the mission is to be a radical force of healing and change. And doing so by being their radically authentic self. That's kind of the challenge and the gift of Aquarius. It's all about authenticity, self-healing, and collective healing. And you as an individual can and absolutely do impact the collective, whether you're an Aquarius or not. We're chatting about what Aquarius teaches us. So this season is an offering a way of really stepping into ourselves and effectively shaking things up and bringing our own spin to what Capricorn so diligently and carefully helped us to craft. Aquarius is the humanitarian seeking to improve the world for the benefit of all, and doing so by being itself holy. So, before we really get into it, I have a tarot reading for you. This is kind of just the collective energy for this new lunar cycle, for the new moon in Aquarius. And what we have is really, it's really not a surprise. The Page of Swords came up. We have some air energy here, and then we have a community card. So let's dig in, shall we? Present for us is the Knight of Swords. So this is the Knight of air energy, and air energy is communication. It's our thinking, our mental processes, and communication, how we get our point across, how we share news, the way that we argue, how we our thinking and how we express that thinking is kind of how I think of it. And the knights are about how we're moving through the world. So the Knight of Swords is like an energy of movement. This card represents a willingness to step forward in some way. Are you willing to step forward? Are you willing to go farther than you think you can? Are you willing to flow, The Knight of Swords has a mission, and he's willing to go farther and faster than feels comfortable to the brain. So this card invites you to bring forward your message without hesitation, even if it feels uncomfortable, even if there's some doubt or you're unsure. Are you willing to step forward? Are you willing to go farther and faster than feels comfortable to your brain? This is I also think of authenticity, are you willing to step forward with your authentic self, even if it feels uncomfortable to the brain? And this is supported by the Three of Cups, which is commonly considered the community, like a community card. The common reading of this three is like about coming together with others, right? Allowing ourselves to be like seen and supported and celebrated, and it's the community card. What more can I say? And in Soul Tarot, y'all know I love Soul Tarot so much. And the thing that Lindsay Mack said that like really resonated with me is that all 78 cards must apply to any human being in any circumstance. And she said like it has to apply to like the castaway in like some mountain cavernous cave somewhere, like that person hiding away in the cave. Or maybe it has to apply to like the old witch in the woods who like she's isolated. She has no community, which is not a way for a witch to live, by the way. I don't love that that depiction of the old lone witch in the woods. All witches need a community, but anyway, even to that witch in the woods, even to is it Tom Hanks in Castaway? So it's a community card. It's about like taking invitations to be in community and share yourselves with others, and that starts with us. It's a really there's like a deepened internal invitation with Soul Tarot to like make sure that we are coming together and uniting and aligning all parts of ourselves, the head, the heart, the hands, uniting and aligning our inner child and our inner adult, uniting and aligning and being congruent, right, with like what is inside of us and what is outside of us. So it's like, in essence, it's another authenticity card. It's like honoring and acknowledging all parts of us, even the pieces that are painful or hard to acknowledge, the pieces of us that we try to hide away, and being in community with all pieces of ourselves, and then leaning into external community as well. So our Knight of Swords mission, our mission of like, hey, are you willing to step forward with the truth of who and what you are? Are you willing to step forward with your message and be heard and seen? We get there by leaning into the Three of Cups, right? We get there by leaning into embracing and holding and accepting, finding acceptance for all parts of ourselves, so that then we can have the courage to be seen by others and be held in our community and step forward with that Knight of Swords energy in our Three of Cups experience. I hope that makes sense. I hope that resonates. And our anchor before I move on to that, I have to say, like, I smile at the Three of Cups these days in a way that I never have before. This is a slight tangent, but I'll make it quick. My mentor reminds me that when wounding happens in community, healing must happen in community. And that was something that like, that was an uncomfortable truth for me for a hot minute, where I was like, I don't know, can I just like heal by myself and never be perceived? I have some wounding from community growing up, as most of us do. Middle school was nasty. I grew up doing like ballet, and that was crazy. I guess my dance teacher, my like cohort of ballerinas is like legendary in a way, because apparently my old ballet teacher still to this day talks about my cohort and being like the worst cohort she's ever had. We had a lot of conflict. It was a lot, a lot of hurt, a lot of, we had to have a lot of sit downs, a lot of talks, a lot of tears, a lot of like betrayal and backstabbing. And it wasn't just me who was like a victim of it, right? I'm sure all of us have wounding around that. We all like harmed each other. Teenage girls. We were not like, I don't know. I say teenage girls, but I also really don't want to normalize that. And I don't want to like allow that to be the standard, where like teenage girls are just completely destroying each other. Anyway, a lot of wounding happened in community for me. And so for a long time, I've been really content to not prioritize community and like not lean into that. That wasn't modeled for me by my mother. Having any sort of community, she didn't, So now I've been kind of stretching that and pushing my edge with that and sitting in circles, breathwork circles, healing circles, women's circles for like 2 years. And then I just finished this 12-week womb circle certification course where I was sitting in like 2 to 4 circles every week for 12 weeks. So now I look at the Three of Cups with such a different fondness of like, yes. It still pushes me, right? I still have to give myself pep talks and remind myself that I belong, And if you are somebody who, like me, like experienced a lot of wounding in community, and I'm still content, even with sitting in healing circles, right? I'm the type who is totally content to have a very small, close-knit, intimate, like circle of like close friends. I'm very introverted. If I had a wedding party, it certainly wouldn't have like 8 bridesmaids. I'm not that type. And there's so much medicine in sitting in these circles. So if you've never done it, I really want to encourage you to see if you can feel into stretching that muscle for yourself a little bit. Whether it's my circles or, there are endless amounts of circles to choose from, and groups that you can join into. And part of the medicine of Aquarius and part of the medicine of this tarot spread, the invitation here between the Knight of Swords and the Three of Cups and what I'm about to talk about, which is the Page of Swords. The medicine, the invitation is to know yourself and be yourself fully and let that be held and seen and witnessed. Like bring that forward into your world and really leaning into a sense of belonging, and you do that for yourself first by reassuring all parts of yourself that like you're okay, that all parts of yourself are okay, that you belong and all parts of yourself belong. Your anger, your grief, your shitty attitude sometimes, your irritability, your worst habits, the things that make you a total asshole and really hard to live with. Can you be in community with those things too? And like let them sit at the table. And it's not about like permissioning bad behavior, but like just a full sense of belonging. Because when we don't invite those parts of ourselves to the table, it's like quote unquote shadow work. When we don't invite those parts to the table, they become these like big unmanaged monster shadows. And the alternative is to be in relationship with these things. Know them intimately. Be able to say like, yes, welcome back, asshole version of myself. I see you. You're behaving really badly right now. Let's take a seat and talk. Let's take a seat and talk and integrate and then share all, like, my whole self with my community. And we practice that in like therapeutic healing circles, right? We practice kind of naming our struggles or our difficulties or our less than ideal like behaviors and situations, thought processes, experiences, right? We share that. We like practice naming it and being seen in it. So that's the Three of Cups, and that's what supports our Knight of Swords work in the world. And given that, our anchor, as we work with this energy, our anchor that we can like return ourselves to and ground in with is Page of Swords, which is like, it couldn't be better. It literally couldn't be better. Page of Swords is like the student of the swords. So the Page of Swords it comes before the Knight of Swords. We become an expert in Page of Swords so that we can kind of graduate into the Knight of Swords, right? So our anchor this week is like, so this like devoted student energy, right? The pages are these like devotees to the suit that they are in. Devotee to your swords. Can you anchor in with being a devotee of what is true for you and how you express it? Even if the sword feels heavy, or even if you feel ill-equipped, or even if you feel inexperienced, can you step forward with what is true for you? Can you express it? A student of that expression, a student of speaking your truth. And this card is related to the Fool, right? Like this card is willing to step forward. It's willing to step forward. It's willing to take the leap, even if it will be seen as foolish, even if the rest of the world doesn't get it. This page embodies a willingness to show up. They're not buying into the story that we have to stay small, or we don't have enough, or we don't know enough. This is like the phase in life where we're still a student, and we also know that we have some medicine that we can bring forward. Some sort of truth that you can bring forward. So my invitation for you for this next lunar cycle is like, how can you deepen your expression of the truth, of your truth, of who you really are, your most authentic self? Can you deepen that expression like 5 to 10% more? What would that look like? What would that mean for you? And know that you are so supported. You are so supported in doing this. And know that you can be even more supported in doing this if you allow yourself to be seen in community, right? If you allow your people to see you, if you tell them, like, hey, I'm working on being seen. And if this is really like edgy for you and like difficult for you, I really invite you to lean into like experimenting with this idea of being seen and stepping forward and speaking your truth. Really practice in really safe ways. So with people who you know love you, or by going to a moon circle of a certain witch that you really dig the vibe of, whether that's me or not. Like I said before, there's a million witches and a million moon circles, or not moon circles. Like there are so many opportunities to be seen and held in really beautiful places, and you belong. You belong. You'll find one where you belong. And the best way to find where you belong is to be as authentic and congruent as possible. Congruence is so important. And it's been like a topic in a few of my sessions this week, the last week or so. The idea of like allowing what is inside of us and our expression to be as congruent as possible, allowing what is inside of us and what people see of us to be as congruent as possible. And that takes courage, it takes bravery, and it takes like that self-acceptance first, right? And that's you're supported in that. You're so supported in that always, and especially this season. So that's your tarot reading. I really liked that one. Let me know what resonates for you. Let's go ahead and talk about what Aquarius is and what it brings. Aquarius is our fixed air sign, and it's the last air sign of the zodiac. I know it's called Aquarius, and it's the water bearer. So it's commonly mistaken as a water sign, but nope. It's an air sign. Focus less on the water and more on the bearer. It brings the water. It communicates the water. It transports, right? It's that air energy, the movement energy. And in expansive astrology, where each of the seasons build on each other, we have prepared for Aquarius by moving through Gemini and Libra earlier this year. Gemini is like this great connector, this great communicator. Gemini is mutable air, so it's like the most airy air that ever aired. It's like moving air. And then we have Libra, which kind of has themes of like building beauty, balance, and justice. So Libra kind of builds on Gemini's gift, and then Aquarius extends those gifts even further, where Aquarius is all about like bringing that medicine to the world, bringing that medicine to the collective, to create like real change. And Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, which is like this planet's key phrase is drastic change. It symbolizes creation and destruction and creative power, innovation. It's like how we invent. And then Saturn also rules Aquarius, and Saturn concerns like structure and how we control things. It represents responsibility and limitations and obstacles. Saturn helps us identify where problems and restrictions exist in our lives and helps remind us of the impermanence of existence. So that kind of, this is all painting the picture of what Aquarius is, right? It's the water bearer. It brings the most essential of substances. It represents the creation and giving of life. Water symbolizes truth and reflects the Aquarian desire to be of use to others in a really important way. Aquarius rules the 11th house of hope, so it's like how we're able to expand beyond in the individual and focus on community, how we befriend the world around us, how we serve others, what we give to the world, our gift to the world. So it's like this 11th house is said to concern long-term dreams and goals, and it's the house that governs the work that we do, the communities we're involved in, the relationships we engage in. It's the house of vision and idealism. So, and the phrase for Aquarius is I know. I know. And we see that reflected in the tarot reading that came up for us, which is all about like honoring your truth, being in relationship with your truth and allowing that to be expressed and seen in the world. I know. So I always like to ask my students of expansive astrology, I always like to ask you to like free write, take a few moments to like free write or consider, what do you know? That phrase, I know. What is just true for you? And it's really vague. That's a very vague question for a reason, right? It's about like, there's no right answer. There's no right way to approach it. I know. What do you know? So a big piece of Aquarius energy, part of the challenge, is knowing that you are enough. You do not have anything to prove. You have enough. And that healing ourselves is how to best impact the collective. There's kind of a shadow side to like wanting to help. And that's like the saviorism, this like icky saviorism that happens. So part of the challenge is like knowing, like keeping your eyes on your own paper, basically keeping your eyes on healing and helping yourself and your circle, your community, and making sure that you're not putting more focus on others or quote unquote helping where it isn't actually needed or wanted, right? Like stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. Part of the shadow side is like, it can be like kind of God complexy, this saviorism, right? Your way is not the only way. So like, it's always nuanced. It's always nuanced, but there's a delicate balance of like knowing you are enough and you have enough. You don't have anything to prove. You have a medicine to bring to the world, and the more congruent and transparent and authentic and brave you can be with that message, the better. And stay in your fucking lane. Learn to honor other people's independence. There can be this tendency to call for change when it comes to things outside of ourselves, and yet sitting very fixed when it comes to our personal experiences, like an unwillingness to actually change. It's like wonderful to be able to see outside of the box, but also, are you looking inside the box? Like sometimes we need, I don't know. It's beautiful to look outside of the box, but like, what does your box look like? Is there anything that you can be cleaning up and focusing on? Like, is there a better use of your focus? Is there a better use of your advocacy? Is there a better use of your wisdom rather than like fighting with the world and wishing the world would change? Knowing that it starts with you. And that's why the star card is like one of the Aquarius cards. And the star card in Soul Tarot is all about, it's like nervous system healing. It's all about like meeting yourself in the aftermath of the tower, because it comes right after the tower. Meeting yourself where you are and like being willing to do the work to tend to that. Like, how do you show up to yourself when you're hurting? A lot of people read the star as like, shine your light. You are a star. Let yourself be seen. And it's kind of funny that I read the star about like rest and restoring and rejuvenating and healing. And that's how we shine. Like, you become shiny by polishing yourself. And that's the most effective change. That's the most effective way to actually create change in the world. And we so easily write ourselves off or call ourselves selfish or dismiss these like really healing things. We dismiss the necessity of that polishing time. The other day, my husband and I had like a bit of a meltdown. Everybody needed something. Children were crying. An essential item was lost. And it was just like a chaotic 10 to 15 minutes, and we weren't being very kind to each other. And I called for a pause. I said, oh my God, we need to pause because we're being awful. Like, we are not regulated. I was not regulated. So I called for a pause, which was good, but then I didn't like use the pause. I like just sat there kind of mad instead of like breathing or like going outside really fast for some fresh air or even drinking some water. Like, I just sat on my phone, stewing in my own irritation. So I took the time, but not really. And after we came together, the whole ordeal had really like illuminated to us how on edge we both were, you know, and how like we needed to do a little more to like use a little more proactivity, make sure that these essential items aren't getting lost, making sure we're setting ourselves up for success. Like, once we came back together, I realized that I was like not taking care of myself, right? Like, I was like really quick to anger. And so I knew what the remedy was. I knew what the answer was. It was like tending to my nervous system, rejuvenating myself. The best thing I could do when acknowledging, oh my God, I am burnt to a crisp and I don't have much patience. The best thing I could do would be to like come out to my altar and meditate, or like lay down on the floor and do some breath work and cry. But like, or dancing, you know, all of these like things that rejuvenate me and recenter me and keep me patient and kind, keep me in my power. Those things feel, after I acted like an asshole, right? I wanted to just punish myself. I felt like I couldn't possibly go out to my sacred space and like do something lovely and wonderful for myself. I just acted like shit. I don't deserve that. And I like saw this thought process happening. And like, okay, all right, okay, knock it off. If I want my husband to be patient in those moments, if I want the fucking bombing to stop across the world, like, what do I need to embody? That might seem dramatic to some people to like bring up war and bombing when I'm talking about a less than 15-minute encounter with my husband, but it is, Thich Nhat Hanh really teaches this in Being Peace, that like it is not by going out for this big demonstration against war that we bring about change, but it is by embodying change and being peace that we bring about change. So in that moment, I'm noticing myself saying, oh my God, I'm such an asshole. I have no patience. I'm a monster. I'm just like my mother. And there's this like inner knowing, or my higher self is like, bitch, go outside and light a candle and breathe and take some space and listen to some music. But that sounded enjoyable. That sounded like, yeah, hey, you know, that would help me. And there was this part of me that, because it would help me and because I was feeling like shit about myself, I wanted to like smack that out of my own hands. That's not the way. That's not the way. That's what Aquarius can help teach. And that's what the star teaches, is that by coming out here in my sacred space, listening to music, doing a little dance, and then like sitting quietly with myself. And that only has to take 15 or 20 minutes. But doing that allows me to shine, in my family. It allows me to lead in my home. It allows me to meet those really frustrating moments, even if my husband is acting like shit, that doesn't mean I have to act like shit. Healing yourself for the benefit of all. That's what the invitation is. Knowing you're enough and acknowledging your impact. Because one way or another, I have a huge impact. Whether I'm centered and feeling shiny, or whether I'm being an asshole and completely like disconnected from myself and my truth and my needs, I'm having an impact. What do I want that to look like? So Aquarius season is all about like finding and honoring and embracing your uniqueness, your weirdness, your authentic individual self. This is for the good of the planet. The more we can embrace our authenticity, the better we're able to show up in the full force of our power. It's for the good of the planet to embrace what we are with confidence. It takes work. It isn't always easy to show up authentically. There are endless reasons that it might feel or truly be unsafe or challenging to show up authentically. And the more congruent we can be, the closer we get to true shamelessness about the essence of who we are, the better. And Aquarius shares a pole with Leo. So we get to really draw on like some Leo energy to help us in this like shamelessness, in this confidence, to show up more fully in our relationships and to advocate for ourselves more effectively, to bring our strengths and our gifts into the world. So let's talk about genuineness. Genuineness has two sides, an inner and an outer. And those are congruence and transparency. Congruence means you won't always be likable, predictable, or pleasant, and people don't like that. I'm going to say it again. Being congruent, transparent, and genuine means you won't always be likable, predictable, or pleasant. But you will be trustworthy and honoring the depth of your experience, which makes you safe. People will be able to trust you, right? Are you willing to be seen as you are? Even if what you are is ignorant or embarrassed or vulnerable. We spend so much time trying to escape ourselves or trying to shape shift into some other version of ourselves. So check in. What are you denying yourself? What are you denying yourself for any reason? Cultural narratives, fears, expectations, generational stuff. What experiences, desires, dreams, birthrights? What are you denying yourself? Where and why do you distract yourself or escape from yourself or disconnect yourself from your actual needs and desires? There's an undoing that has to happen. We must undo the facade that we may have created over the years. And sometimes that facade runs so deep and is so deeply rooted in other people's like needs and desires that like we're not even aware of those parts yet. The things that you're denying yourself. So check in. Am I being fully myself? Am I being congruent right now? Is my expression congruent with my needs and desires? There are some really subtle ways that we do this. Maybe subtle isn't the right word. There are some really normalized ways that we do this. Like being extra sweet or quiet or when standing up for yourself. I was speaking with a client yesterday who was like, how do I tell this woman when I want to get off the phone with her? She has a family member and they have weekly phone calls and sometimes they go way too long, right? She was like, yeah, maybe I could say like, sorry, I've got some stuff to do, or, kind of coming up with these really sweet ways of trying to get off the phone. And I reminded her that like, she doesn't have to be extra, extra sweet, or she doesn't have to come up with some sort of reason or excuse. Like she can just need to get off the phone. And when you say it kindly and assertively, then like being extra sweet or extra quiet or having some sort of needing to have some sort of reason to get off the phone, like it's no longer necessary. You can just say, it's been so nice talking to you. I actually have to go now, but I'll call you next Saturday. Or you could even be even more transparent and say, as we're talking, I'm noticing that I am not as present with you as I want to be because I can't stop thinking about the dishes and the laundry and all of my to-dos. I'm realizing that now is really not a good time. I'm not even focusing, and I want to be able to focus when you're talking to me. Can I call you later? Or on the other hand, sometimes we go the other way and can appear extra cold or hard in order to appear less vulnerable, which is also not congruent. So this could be like if plans fall through or you don't get an invitation to something. Let's go with like if you were looking forward to something and you're looking forward to coffee with a friend and they cancel. And you're mad about it, but also you're hurt and feeling really abandoned. You feel really vulnerable and sad, right? But maybe you put on a mask of like not really caring in order to mask that sadness, even if it's not necessarily cold or hard or harsh, right? Even if it's just like, oh, it's okay, it's okay. I'll see you next time. Or sometimes we'll say it's okay, but we hope that they'll read it in a colder way so that they know that you're mad. Have you ever done that? Notice these things. Notice these things. Notice if you're hiding certain truths about who you are. Notice if you're minimizing these things. Notice if you're saying it's fine, but you actually hope that the person will notice that it's not fine and like make repairs. Notice when you're joking about things that actually aren't funny, or when you're laughing at jokes that you don't find funny. These are all examples of incongruence. And again, congruence is key. The goal, the work of this season is to make sure that all of the faces we're using are as authentic as possible, as congruent with how we actually feel as possible. Aquarius asks us to engage with the act of becoming yourself, naming yourself, committing to yourself. And you grow your home base every time you're able to claim and be claimed by the gifts that you came into this world with. So take a breath and sink into who and what you are. Let go of all the work and allow yourself to be a creature who's ever changing, engaging with the full depth of your experience. and fearlessly allowing yourself to be whatever you are in each moment that you find yourself. And so to wrap up, I always bring this Marianne Williamson quote with me to Aquarius season. She says, quote, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine, as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others." Unquote. That is Aquarius medicine. So, I want to thank you for being here. I hope that this served and inspired you in some way. Please let me know if it did. I love hearing from you. Okay, just a few things coming up. My next moon circle is on Sunday the 18th. We're going to be talking about the full moon in Virgo. And then on February 24th, which is a Saturday, we'll be having the full moon dance temple. This is becoming a regular thing, my friends. I think it's members only. Some of these details change as I feel them out. So just know that. But right now, Dance Temple is members only. So with your $25 membership, you get to join in for a very juicy movement medicine circle. We start in a circle, we end in a circle, and in between, we dance. Or not. It's like movement medicine, right? And I'm calling it Dance Temple because the invitation is to dance. And it's all about the practice of staying present in your body and feeling your body, touching your body, letting it move or not move in the ways that feel so good and supportive for you. It is like a mindfulness practice. It is a manifestation practice, and it has been so good for my body and my soul. And the people who came to last month's Dance Temple for the full moon in Leo loved it. They loved it. So I'm asking you, once again, to take a chance on yourself and take a chance on Dance Temple. I really think you'll love it. It's a lot of fun, and it's from the comfort of your own home. These are happening over Zoom until further notice. So you can do it with your camera off, or you can do it in the darkness and we will never see you. But I just want to enthusiastically invite you to my next Dance Temple, February 24th. And you have to sign up for a membership in order to join. Also, I'm starting something new. That's tarot and tea on Tuesdays, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time on Google Meet, Google Hangout. What's it called? Google. There's a link. There's a link to my Google Hangout thing. What's it called? Hold on. Google Meet. I'm experimenting with Google Meet. You can find the link for this and more information on my website, but every Tuesday or every other Tuesday. We'll see. But on Tuesdays, I'm planning to just host a little chat. This is totally free. We're going to be talking about the tarot. Tarot readings are not like necessarily on the agenda. I imagine they will happen, but this is not for you to come and get a tarot reading, but rather to come and chat with me about the tarot. So that's brand new. This is a total experiment, but I'll see you this Tuesday. Other than that, make sure you're following me on Instagram for Free Tarot Friday and my stories every Friday. And until next time, I hope I'll see you at a moon circle. And I hope you take really good care of yourself. Thank you for being here. I love ya. Bye. Now, before you go, let me keep your ear for just a moment. This week's episode is brought to you by www.theselfcarewitch.com, my bread and butter, where you can find more information on my current courses, offerings, and other fun ways to connect with myself and yourself. If you enjoyed this episode and you dig what I'm doing here, please subscribe to the podcast, rate it, and leave a review. It helps so much. And if you'd like to connect with me, head to theselfcarewitch.com. I'd truly love to hear from you. Until next time, take care.